Hello everyone, this is Balaji. This is my another presentation on the topic of brake test on electric motor. Without any further delay, let me take you through the presentation. This is the outline of the presentation which I will be explaining in further slides. So we all know that testing is done in DC machines to estimate the efficiency and power losses. And in the DC motors, the main objective behind the brake test, I mean the load test, is to estimate the efficiency. And efficiency is a very basic parameter in a motor which tells you the performance of the motor. Efficiency is nothing but the performance of the motor at variable speed and variable load. At variable load and variable speed, how much efficiency your motor is giving. So that's why the brake test is done on the DC motors. It is done on DC shunt motor, DC series motor, and etc. We have three types of testing methods of DC machines. There are direct method, Hopkinson test, and Swinburne test. In direct method, we use variable load for testing the motor, and in direct method, the load is directly acted by means of the brake. I'll be explaining the direct method in the further slides. And in Hopkinson method, it's nothing but we use two motors which is coupled together. One motor acts as electric motor and one motor acts as electric generator. The first motor gives the mechanical output to the generator, which in turn gives the electrical power. So these two things acts as the loop. And in Swinburne test, the losses are measured separately, and with that losses we can measure the efficiency. And here in the Swinburne test, the test is done at no load. So as I said before, direct method, we are going to consider the direct method. Direct method is nothing but the application of load by means of brake. So construction of brake test on DC motor using the direct method. If you could see from the picture, the it is a DC motor, and a rope is winded on the pulley, and you could see a spring balance named as S1 and S2, which is attached to the sorry which is attached to the frame, and a belt is connected to the spring balance, and the load can be varied by adjusting wheels. I'll be telling that adjusting wheels in the next slide. And so, see, if you could see from the picture, you can see the spring balance S1 and S2, and H1 and H2, the belt and the pulley. So, if you consider the drum, sorry, this is the drum, brake drum, which is connected to the motor. So, if you consider the brake drum is rotating in the clockwise direction. So if you see, if the brake drum is running in the clockwise direction, the spring which is mentioned as S2 will act as tight side, and the spring which is mentioned as S1 act as slack side. So the basic mechanism of brake test. As I told before, in direct method, the load is directly applied by means of brake. So the brake is applied to a pulley mounted on motor, and we use water to cool the pulley. And if you could see in the picture, one end of the motor, I mean one end of the shaft, there will be shaft running inside the motor, rotating inside the motor, and one end of the shaft will be connected to the brake drum, and the one end of the shaft will be connected to the motor. As I said before, motor is coupled with the brake drum. And if you could see, we can adjust the load by using this adjusting wheels. And the slack side and the tight side. As I said before, the rotation of the brake drum decides the slack side and the tight side. The main mechanism behind the brake test is nothing but when you give electrical input to the motor, the output of the motor is shaft rotation, and with that shaft rotation we can calculate the torque, which is measured in the kilowatt, and we can measure it in brake horsepower. And the load which we are giving to the motor is considered as resistance to the shaft rotation, and that resistance is considered as brake. So this is how the brake test on DC motor. The resistance which we are applying to the shaft rotation is nothing but the brake. So calculation of efficiency. As I said before, the main objective of the brake test is to calculate the efficiency. For calculating the efficiency, we need these formulas. We all know that torque generally calculated by multiplying the force into radius, and that radius is called as brake drum, and the force is called as the difference of the loads, which is termed as S1 and S2. And the general formula for efficiency is output power upon input power. And with the input power, we can calculate the input power by multiplying the voltage and the current. The current which we are going to consider here is nothing but the armature current and the field current, which I'll be explaining in the tabulation part. And output power, we all know that it is the shaft output power. It's nothing but 2 pi nt by 60, and T is the torque of the shaft and N is the speed, which is represented as RPM. So for calculating the loss, the normal power loss is equal to input power minus output power, but in direct method we will not be considering more in the loss part. The loss part will be considered more in this Swinburne test and the Hopkinson test. So this is the sample calculation of the DC shunt motor. There are some motor specification which we will be seeing on the motor. There will be some plate which has this details. The motor which I performed the test has rated speed around 1500 rpm. The motor should run below its rated speed. It should never cross the 1500 rpm rate, and the rated voltage and current value is 220 voltage and 19 ampere, and the rated power is also 3.5 kilowatts and 5 HP. And if you could see the sample calculation which is in the right part, I did some calculation, normal basic calculation of finding the efficiency. If you could see here, the total current, I told that for calculating the input power we use voltage into current. For the current we use the total current. The total current is nothing but the armature current and the field current. So this is the normal tabulation with random values. So if you could see the tabulation, we are maintaining the voltage. I mean the voltage required to run the motor. We are maintaining the supply voltage and the field current. The field current is nothing but we use this field current for generating the magnetic field, and we use only some very much less current. And if you could see the armature current is responsible for creating the torque, and with these values we calculate the efficiency. If you see the first value, we are running the motor at no load condition. So at no load condition, the torque and the efficiency will be nil. And in the second tabulation, I mean the second row, we are calculating the efficiency with some with applying some loads. If you could see, as we increase the load, just a minute. Okay, if you see the load part, I mean this S2 and S1 part, if you see, as we increase the load, the current taken by the motor increases. See, it's increasing from 0.7, 1, 1.2, 1.5, 1.8. And if you see here, the load is also increasing. So as we increase the load, the current taken by the motor also increases. So the input power also increases, and thereby it is increasing the efficiency. But if you closely look into the efficiency part, the efficiency is increasing from 35.4 till 49.6, but after 49.6 it has decreased to 41.4. The main reason because of the decrease in efficiency is nothing but the losses, which we are not considering here. And the some of the motor losses which we can look into this is copper loss, iron loss, and windage loss. So this is how we tabulate the values and calculate the efficiency of the motor. As I said before, with the tabulation, we can conclude that the increase in load increases the motor current, as well as the speed decreases slightly because of the load which we are giving in the motor. And the efficiency increases with load initially to a maximum value and decreases because of the loss. And the shaft torque also increases because we are applying the load. The shaft torque is the shaft torque is increased because we are applying the load. For certain load, for every load the torque will increase because we are not applying a constant load. So the torque needed to rotate the shaft varies with the variable loads. So performance curve. Here I have mentioned the performance curve for efficiency, speed versus speed, current, and everything. So if you could see the efficiency, I'll be focusing mainly on efficiency. So if you could see the efficiency, it is increasing to a certain value and it starts to decreasing. As I told before in the previous slide, it is because of the losses. The maximum efficiency is between 70 to 85 percentage. After that, it starts to decrease, and this plot gives you the efficiency of the motor. And I told before, the when you increase the load, the speed decreases. So if you could see here, the speed is decreasing. Likewise, we plot the efficiency curve and the speed curve and torque and the current, which is nothing but the armature current. So generally, the main difference between AC motor and the DC motor is nothing but this. They use the same principle. It's nothing but the winding and the magnetic field and armature winding and the magnetic field. They use the same principle. There are no, there are not any much difference between them. But there are some differences between DC motor and AC motor. In DC motor, if you see the DC motor, generally the armature rotates because of the armature current, and the magnetic field doesn't rotate. If you see the table, we are okay. If you see the table, the armature current is increasing. So the armature rotates in the DC motor and the magnetic field doesn't rotate in the DC motor. And in the AC motor, it is opposite to that. The armature doesn't rotate and the magnetic field continuously rotates. So this is the basic difference between AC motor and DC motor test. So conclusion. I'll be just summarizing the previous slides which I have talked. So the construction part gives you the rough framework on the DC motor, you can understand how how the brake test is done with such construction. And I told before, the variable load which we are using in the direct method is the main predominant factor of this test, which decides your motor efficiency. And I told before, the motor efficiency is mainly depend on the load changing of the motor. The load which we are giving in the spring balance. So, and one more thing, the DC shunt motor should never be started and stopped at under low load condition, because if he doesn't follow this rule, the motor speed will increase enormously. It means the motor speed will increase beyond the rated speed, that is 1500 rpm. And one more thing, in the mechanism part, I told that we are using water to cool the pulley, because the increase in temperature may damage the motor. If we are not using the water to cool the brake drum, it will obviously damage the motor. And temperature is also responsible for the decrease in efficiency, which is termed as the losses. So these are the papers which I have referred for making this slides. And thank you. I hope this presentation gives you insights on brake test on electric motors. Thank you so much.